Hey, Ben Roethlisberger, since you have your new channel, Channel 7, you will get all this attention and stuff. You will call out the coaches, you will call out the whole team, just like you did your entire career. Thought she was just the untouchable one. You were the untouchable one for a while. That was the biggest problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers is you, the untouchable one. It's kind of sad when you felt you could touch anybody. Mm, Ben, Ben, Ben. Ben, Ben, Ben. I just want to know if you're mad and jealous right now because a couple weeks ago you were talking about how maybe the Steelers' way is dead and this and that, and I don't even know. Is Are you trying to say you were the reason the Steelers won the Super Bowl? Or are you trying to say though your Super Bowls, you're the reason why we won those Super Bowls, Ben? Is that what you're trying to say? You're not saying Willie Parker didn't have nothing to do with that. You're not saying Jerome Bettis had nothing to do with that. You're not saying Alan Faneca had nothing to do with that. You're not saying Jeff Hardings had nothing to do with that. James Ferrier, Joey Porter Jr., Joey Porter Sr., Ike Taylor, Troy Polamalu, first ballot Hall of Famer. Honestly, Ben, the way you're going out with your little podcast and doing Levin Furniture commercials with Kenny Pickett, I don't know, man. That's just not first ballot Hall of Fame worthy to me, man. Now that I'm really looking back at your career, like when you retired, I said you're first ballot Hall of Famer, but on it, you're a Hall of Famer. Definitely 100% a Hall of Famer. And there ain't no taking that away from Ben Roethlisberger. But is he a first ballot Hall of Famer? I don't think so. I don't think so. I think there, if like when he's up for whatever election or whatever how they do it, there's only like 25 people that go up into the vote, and then like 10 to get in. And when he's eligible, I feel there will probably be 10 more players during that tenure and that time easily that had better careers than Ben Roethlisberger. So I don't believe he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but yes, he gets in. But a lot of the off the field stuff with Ben, that's definitely something you got to take into consideration if you're a Hall of Fame voter. And if you're in the NFL and what you want to qualify as being a Hall of Famer. So there's a lot of things that go into it. You know, Troy Polamalu was like, you just listen to his Hall of Fame speech that he did for the Steelers. It's just amazing. I mean, Troy Polamalu was a class act through and through and was a major integral part of that team. And that defense was the heart and soul of that team. And Jerome Bettis was the heart and soul of that team. And Ben was a rookie quarterback that came in and, slung it around a little bit. A couple times he did whatever he wanted to do and it worked out. I mean, he was a gunslinger at the end of the day. Sometimes you need that. He won a lot of games, won the Steelers 2 Super Bowls, but if he'd have been a little bit more disciplined, you know, maybe the Steelers would have went more. Maybe if he would have decided to take the league average like Tom Brady did throughout his career, like we could hear all this stuff about the pay cuts, the pay cuts. All they did was like reverse the cap and kick it down the road, kick it down the road, and kick it down the road, and return it around and put it in the back. This is like a lot of behind the doors working the wire. I don't even know, but it wasn't really. He's still getting his dough. At the end of the day, somehow, some way, he was finagling it and they was finessing it to where maybe he could help him out a little bit. But he didn't want to come off that money to the point where they were going to force him out. They basically were going to force him out, man. But we had him on so much money. There was no choice, and he held the franchise hostage. And now, coming out with these smug comments like he did throughout his entire career, coming out with smug cheap shots to Antonio Brown, smug cheap shots to your offensive coordinators, smug cheap shots to the front office, smug cheap shots to the media, a lot of smug cheap shots to everybody and pretty much on the team. And in somehow, some way, like in the quarterback position, you get all the credit for the wins, and Ben, he got us all the credit in the world for all the wins, even though he was carried by a great defense. And then late in his career, when he was putting up those numbers, Le'Veon Bell was carrying it 400 times, and Antonio Brown was putting up Jerry Rice-like numbers, and Ben never had numbers like that in his career ever. Way, way, way late in the stage of his career. And then we lost the two Bs, and then we decided to buy Ben, give him 50 million. He went out with Tommy Johns, and then that was a wrap. Jack was never the same, and we're better now. We're better off right now. than we were with Ben Roethlisberger. And all three quarterbacks combined on our roster do not even come to close. It's not even half of what Ben was making. Literally, it's not even half. Mitch Babitsky's making like 8 this year. Kenny's like making like 3, so that's 11. And Mason's like probably making like $1 million or 2, so like 50 million. That's not even half. Not even half of what Ben was making. We have in our quarterback room, and we got all these besides Mason. Mason's making like a case for himself, and there's another little smug shot to Mason. So for him to say the Steelers' way is dead, it's kind of sad because when you were quarterback, especially those last final stretches, years when you kind of pushed Haley out and then you instilled Finkner and everybody hated Finkner because that's who you wanted, and then you instilled Canada because that's who Ben wanted. Everybody's saying that's who Tomlin wanted. That's who Ben wanted. Ben wanted Finkner. Ben wanted Canada. That Ben got what Ben wanted. He didn't want an offensive coordinator to come in and tell him what to do. He wanted to do whatever the hell he wanted to do. And that was that. When we had an elite level defense. And there's no reason schematically why, especially when we had leads, why we're going out there spreading it out. What do you do? Because you're trying to run it up. Trying to run it up in the NFL. And that's not what, you a punk. That's punk shit. Punk ass shit. And what'd you do? You didn't get nowhere with it. Put up some numbers. Build them up at the end of your career. So to me, Ben Roethlisberger's mad and jealous. And really looking at it all, he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And we're really getting back to the Steelers' way of football. And everybody blames Tomlin for us not having a playoff success. But nobody wants to talk about Ben going out there slanging it and slanging it all around there. Cleveland, Jacksonville. Just huge turnovers. They want to talk about, Ben got up a bunch of yards in the Cleveland game. The game was over before the second half. So you put up 400 yards in garbage time when they're playing cover 4 zone all game long and just giving up the underneath and they don't care. And then just running it out on offense with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Come on, man. Because they're playing football. They're looking to win. That's what they were looking to do. They were looking to win because they were in. Cleveland believed that year. Cleveland fucking believed that year. And that was like their Super Bowl, knocking you out. Your last chance. Wasn't your last chance, but that was your best chance, really. Last best chance, we'll say that. Then the year after that, you was lucky to even get in and you got bludgeoned and embarrassed to finish your career. Because you hung too long, played games with the media, played games with the organization, played games about your retirement to get money, and then you basically held the team hostage the last 2-3 years of your career. So to me, especially the way he's being such a jealous bitch baby and calling the Steelers out once again, saying somehow the Rooney way's dead, when this is 2 decades of non-losing football for this organization. And he came into an already well-oiled machine that was just a mediocre game manager away from winning a Super Bowl pretty much. We basically was getting there with Tommy Maddox. Now we're getting there with Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett, and Babitsky. All right? And eventually we're going to find a guy that can produce it better than what we've been getting easily. And with all this talent, there's a lot of hungry people and a lot of people about to eat this postseason because, Ben, Steelers Nation, Pittsburgh Steelers football is back in full effect. So, I'm going to make sure this video gets to 10 minutes. So, we're at 9:57. Make sure you hit the like. Make sure you hit the subscribe and share button too. So, here we go, Steelers. The game is on Sunday. I think everybody already knows. I think we're going to win. I think this is a huge game for a lot of people. And a lot of media people. There's a lot on the line here. And a lot of money to be made, not made. Jobs on the line. A lot of things. So, I think we're coming out of this. I just want to talk about Ben a little bit. Season. A lot of the shit that's been going on. A lot of the media talking about how the Rooney way's dead. And how they're out of touch. And, it's not about defense, not about defense. Well, I said it a bunch of times. When we had that Triple B era and we was running up 30 points a game, we didn't win no Super Bowls. When we had the steel curtain in the 70s, we won 4 Super Bowls. When we had Troy Polamalu, James Harrison, Ike Taylor, Casey Hampton, Brett Kiesel, them boys in the trenches, Aaron Smith, Kimo Van Olafen, the list goes on and on and on of big boys we rotate in the trenches. Now we're grooming up another one in Cam Hayward, who is pretty much has close to a Hall of Fame career. And if you add a Super Bowl to that career, you get him in. Definitely. Cam might be first ballot. Ben isn't. Cam gets another 2-3 years with 8, 9, 10 sacks and keeps dominating the run game in the trench the way he dominates. Oh, yeah. You get a Super Bowl on that resume. You got to give him a Walter Payton Man of the Year award already, too, because he's a good character, a class act, was raised great, gives back to the community, is about charity, is not about himself, is about the team, is about the roster, and why he's been the captain of the defense for, it's been a long time now. So, the Hayward House, a lot of charitable organizations that Cam Hayward is a part of, and is a great face to the franchise. Unlike Ben Roethlisberger at times, he has lacked a lot of leadership. And like I said, you got all the credit for the wins, but somehow, some way, you quarterback, when you win, you get the credit. When you lose, you get the credit. Somehow he's able to, that was his thing, is diverting that. He wanted to get all the glory, but then when it was time for the L, he always found a way to push it away from him and somebody else. Well, that's why I think he might be a little bit jealous right now, because we're looking just a little bit better than him. And now some people like me might start to say and look back and say, you're not so first ballot Hall of Fame worthy. And, you were the reason. You were the thorn in the side that is no longer a part of this organization. And now we're going to move forward, and the future is so bright. And we have this defense locked down for years to come. And we're just going to get better on offense. And if we can find a quarterback in the draft the next 2 or 3 years, just like you, a nice big 6'3", 6'4" prospect that can throw it all over the field, and have a journeyman like Kenny Pickett on the cheap to back him up that's a game manager in case something goes wrong, this team might be all right for the next few years. So, here we go, Steelers. Let's get this win on Sunday. I think by now, everybody should be all in on the Steelers. I don't know what Vegas is thinking. I hope they move that line. I hope people realize that the Steelers are going to bludgeon the Bills and embarrass them. And then they're going to go on and do it with the Ravens. Well, I'm not going to say that. We'll see. That's going to be a tough one. I have to save that for next week, because this week is all about the Bills. And this week's all about Pittsburgh. And it's all about all the shit that's been going on. That the Rooney's way is dead and nobody believing. And this team is going to, I'm telling you, they're going to come together. They're a team. They're a unit. They're hungry. The Bills ain't hungry as Pittsburgh is. And we're going to feast on Sunday.